What to do, Packer Nation? I'm Camille Davis, and this is the Pack a Day podcast. I am coming to you fresh after another Packers W. Love it, love it, love it, love it. The Packers defeated the Tennessee Titans 30-14. And here are just some of my initial gut reactions coming out of this game. And I honestly don't know if I want to start with Malik Willis first or that defense first, because listen, a masterful game from the defense here. 8 sacks for this Green Bay Packers defense, the most they've had in a game since 2005, almost 20 years since we've seen a performance from the defense like this when it comes to getting to the quarterback. There were multiple parties at the quarterback today in Nashville, Tennessee, so that was great to see. 2 interceptions for this Packers defense. Jair Alexander got his first career pick six, hit him with the Love to see it. Love to see it. He just read the quarterback beautifully, made a beautiful break on the ball and took it all the way. You had Xavier McKinney getting his third interception as a Green Bay Packer in what? 3 games. Like an amazing streak for McKinley right now. Like this is one of those signings that you look at and in real time, just about everybody who had a vested interest in the Packers were like, man, that's a great pickup. That's the exact type of safety that Jeff Hafley talked about needing in his defense. And as we start seeing it play out, yeah, a picture perfect fit for McKinney here in Green Bay. So you love to see it. In addition to that, the Packers forced a fumble and recovered the fumble as well. So all in all, 3 takeaways for this Packers defense, which was really important because you saw the Packers really upping the pressure in the second half as they needed to, because the offensive play calling did get more conservative in the second half. Matt LaFleur said it himself, like, yeah, you can say that if you want to call it conservative, but I mean, the Packers went into halftime up 20-7, and they won the game 30-14. And that touchdown they got in the second half came after a missed field goal that doesn't count. That doesn't count because of a penalty against the Titans. The Packers end up scoring a touchdown off of that, and they did enough. Like in the first half in particular, they built a lead so that they were able to play conservatively in the second half, and the defense showed throughout the game that you could count on them. The moments when you thought the Titans were building up momentum, the Packers defense seemingly had an answer every single time. But to the offense, Malik Willis, that man, listen, the Packers giving a 7 to get him, it's great. Fantastic business work, Goody. Fantastic business work, Packers. Malik Willis finished the game with 202 yards through the air. Gave us another 73 yards on the ground. He led the team in rushing, matter of fact. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 passing, 1 rushing. Malik Willis' last game against the Colts, he had 122 yards passing for the entire week, and that was enough to get the job done. Coming into this game, I figured the Packers would have to rely on Malik a little bit more, and indeed they did. I mean, he had 158 yards at halftime. Efficient game for him as well. And because the Packers were able to build up that big lead in the first half, they were able to play a bit more conservatively in the second half, run the ball a bit more. I actually don't believe that the Packers converted a third down in the second half. If I have my math correct here, the first half, you saw them doing it over and over and over. Even some of them were third and longs. Like they converted a 3rd and 14, a 3rd and 18 in the first half. They were doing their job, right? And if anybody would have came and told you, hey, Jordan Love's going to be injured in the 2 games they don't have Love, you win both of them. You take that, especially after starting the season off 0-1. To be 2-1 after 3 weeks with a backup quarterback at the helm for 2 of those weeks, you take that every single time, even though there's still room for improvement for this team, which you would imagine. It's early on in the year. No team is picture perfect. There is room to grow. As I like to say, though, it's always better to have to work on something after a dub. And for the Packers, they still got to cut back on the penalties. You know, they had 10 in week 1 against the Eagles. They had 6 last week against the Colts. They had 6 this week against the Titans at halftime. They finished the game with 10 penalties. Could have been more, but a couple were declined by the Titans. So they have got to clean that up. But as you see this offense and you see what they're doing, and you're like, they're still putting up points. They're figuring things out despite of penalties. It's like the sky is I don't say it's the limit for the Packers, but there is so much more room for this team to continue to grow on that side of the ball. And defensively, they're building on something here. I was wondering if we would see a bit more pass rush from this Packers defense in week 3 against Will Levis, given the fact that in week 1 and week 2, they faced more mobile quarterbacks. And the game plan was really, let's keep them contained in the pocket. Let's do whatever we can to keep them contained. And for the most part, in the first 2 weeks, they did that, albeit there were a few rushes late. But this week, the defense really got a chance to pin their ears back, especially in that second half once the Packers built up the lead and they knew the Titans were trying to catch up. It was so refreshing to see this Packers defense pin their ears back and get to it, to see big rushes, 6-man rushes against a young quarterback who's had some struggles and the situation that calls for it. Refreshing to my soul to see the defense getting after it. So, listen, I'm all smiles after another win for the Green Bay Packers. They got the Minnesota Vikings up next, who remain undefeated. So it's a big game early on in the season. But listen, we celebrating the Titans tonight. We're going to have all week to discuss the Vikings. So make sure that y'all stay locked into the Pack a Day podcast and all the content that's coming out on the YouTube side as well as the audio side. And listen, as always, y'all, if you want to follow me, you can catch me at Camille Monet, CamilleMonae, on Twitter, on Instagram. And as I wrap up here, y'all, it's only one more thing to say. And you know what it is. Go Pack Go.